Japan, a country that is on just about everyone's bucket list, including my own. This string of islands located on the eastern edge of Asia has intrigued me deeply with its culture, food, philosophies, and overall just way of life. The Japan that we see in pictures just brushes the surface to all that this country has to offer. For the past couple of months, I've been adventuring with nothing but a backpack through Asia. I set off on this journey with a rough plan and idea of what I was going to do, open to everything and anything, and that is exactly when this opportunity arose to visit the country that has absolutely captivated my attention for the past year and a half. There are a lot of different videos I could have made on this trip. The ideas are endless, truly. But through visuals, story, encompassed excitement, and moments, I am so excited to take you on this adventure that is Japan. The journey began on February 3rd when I left Chiang Mai, Thailand, parted ways with Florence as she went on to Laos and I went on to Japan. And this is the moment that my travel day got a whole lot messier. Basically, everything that could go wrong during a travel day went wrong. To keep an extremely long and stressful story short, basically my flight from Thailand to Japan had a stopover in Vietnam, which I didn't think I would need a visa for as I wasn't leaving the airport. That was very much not the case, since I was flying from Thailand to Vietnam with Air Asia and Vietnam to Japan with Vietjet. I would have had to actually switch terminals, which would have brought me out of airport grounds back in, and that requires a visa from Vietnam. Chiang Mai Airport even contacted the Vietnam embassy, and even though I wasn't even leaving the airport, I was still rejected. This left me with two options. Number one, apply for a Vietnam visa and wait 3 to 5 days and still have to rebook my flights, or just rebook a direct flight from Chiang Mai to Japan that day, which they didn't have, so I ended up having to book a flight from Chiang Mai to Bangkok to Japan, and it was a very expensive and confusing mistake. And after 24 very long hours, I finally made it to Japan, which was so nice. The airport and the trains weren't too hard to navigate, but I did experience culture shock with the toilets. There were so many buttons, and then I sat down and it was warm and it started talking to me, and I was very overwhelmed. Afterwards, I got on the train, relaxed, took in the beautiful views, and was literally pinching myself, not understanding how I was in Japan and how this was real life. I arrived at the train station inside of Tokyo, saw my mom, my brother, my grandma. My mom was crying, so I guess as much as she doesn't want to admit it, she probably missed all my talking. At this point, I was running on little to no sleep, but I had one thing on my mind and one thing only, and that was to find sushi in Japan, even if it was from the grocery store. After living off of 7-Eleven toasties and cups of noodles for the past 2.5 weeks in Thailand, I was very, very excited for this. Our whole lives, we've eaten sushi, and we're about to eat sushi for the first time in Japan. Are you ready to try sushi in Japan?
I'd have to try that, yes.
Get in the frame, Nick.
Tati, you do have a set of muscles. That's a great picture. Wait or no? Wait.
Better than Publix.
I want to try this tuna. That was $3. This was tuna. This was $3 for everything. Then we have some tuna. That's pretty fishy. If the grocery store sushi tastes like this,
I can put it on the side, but I think it's gonna be.
You go, Granny.
It keeps falling off.
Kinda just gotta put the whole thing in your mouth. My overall rating would be very good for grocery store sushi, but not the best sushi I've ever had. One of the best parts of traveling, and honestly my favorite part, is just getting lost in the streets, meeting people, trying new foods, just completely submerging yourself in the culture. We stayed in Asakusa, which is known to be kind of the older and more quiet part of Tokyo. We walked around Sensoji Temple quite a few times and just took it all in. The structures are insane. They're beautiful and so detailed. These are things I've seen my whole life in movies and pictures, and just to see it all in person was really a beautiful, beautiful experience. A huge part of Japan and Japanese culture is the food, mostly known for its ramen and its sushi. I convinced my family to go to one of Japan's classic ramen restaurants where you sit kind of at a desk and you have your own little ramen nook. Given that my favorite part of traveling is meeting new people, this was definitely a cultural experience and put me out of my comfort zone a little bit. It was really interesting to be served food and not actually see the person or talk to them. It was definitely a new experience for me, but something that overall I really enjoyed. And guys, the ramen was so good. It was so filling, I could barely finish. Maybe my stomach shrunk on this backpacking trip with smaller portion sizes, but I could not finish it. My brother then ordered this matcha dessert, and that was really interesting as well. I've never tried anything like it, but it was really good. After lunch, it was time to really dive in to the middle of Tokyo. We visited Shibuya Crossing, which is the busiest crosswalk in the world, and it was wild. Looking out the train window and seeing Fuji for the first time was a very unreal moment. It was just so cool. I really wish we had more time this day to go explore all of the different sites and the different views of Fuji. As someone who makes videos, I would love to just see every angle of this mountain. Near Fuji, they're known for these black eggs. Rumor has it that if you eat them, it adds 7 years onto your life. They had all these random egg chairs that I had to test out, and then we told Granny that she looked like the egg statue. As we were exploring, we saw this sulfur just coming out of the earth, and it was a really cool experience. It reminded me of Yellowstone in the US or Ijen in East Java, Indonesia, but it was really cool. And then we put our feet in these hot bath things. It was really, really hot. And then I convinced Granny to do it.
Isn't that amazing? It gets better.
This was one of my favorites and possibly my favorite thing that we did in Tokyo, and that was visit to Tsukiji Fish Market, pronounced Tsukiji Fish Market. Exploring this market is absolutely incredible. You get to submerge yourself completely in the culture and the different types of foods there. While at the market, I got some tuna and salmon sashimi, and it was unreal. It was the best tuna and salmon I've ever had in my entire life. It was so fresh and delicious.
Wow. Yep. I'm not going home.
Everything's so good here. While we were exploring the market, we came across this guy who is creating these sheets of dough almost that you can put shrimp or squid, and they're pressed and flattened and baked into the dough, and it was really, really interesting. I've never seen anything like it. We didn't try it because the line was literally wrapped around the street and the building. Next time I visit Japan, I definitely have to try one because I'm watching this footage back right now and I'm so bummed out I didn't get to try it. These are the things you look at and it's like, how did someone come up with this? But it's so cool. Something that I didn't really know Japan was known for was snow monkeys, and my mom discovered this, so we decided to take a day trip one day and go see these snow monkeys for ourselves. The only wild monkeys I've seen before have been in Indonesia, so this was quite the contrast. We sat there and watched the monkeys for about half an hour. You could watch them all day if it wasn't so cold out. They're such incredible creatures. I feel like most times we think of monkeys being a more tropical animal with banana trees and in the jungle, so this was definitely a really cool experience, and if you ever visit Japan in the wintertime, I would highly recommend going and seeing the snow monkeys for yourself. After spending the day in the snow, we were exhausted to say the least, but I convinced my mom to join me to go stay in Tokyo's capsule hotel. This capsule hotel is actually beautiful, and the beds are not as uncomfortable as I thought they would be. I actually slept really well, and something that I didn't know was that these capsules actually can track your sleep throughout the night if that's something that you'd be interested in, which is really cool. Overall, it was a super fun experience, and for those of you who might be a little bit claustrophobic and think, this isn't for me, I'm also slightly claustrophobic, and I felt so comfortable and not confined into a small space at all. It was actually perfect. Now, you may have heard of this place or seen it before on the internet, but Tokyo has this place called Team Lab. It's a little bit difficult to explain, but the way that I perceived it is it's basically a place where a bunch of artists have come together making different elements of this earth, of space, of the universe into a physically and emotionally interactive experience. I've never really seen anything like this before. It made you feel like you were on a different planet at moments, and also very interactive with all of your senses. This is definitely a place that I would love to come back to with other creatives and just spend the entire day shooting here. It is definitely a immersive experience into this world and the universe and the unknown, and it was really cool. This day was actually my 21st birthday, and I cannot think of a better way to spend your birthday than exploring the streets of Kyoto. It was so much fun to just walk around and explore and learn more about the history of Japan. Later on that day, we really got lost in the streets of Kyoto, and it started snowing at night. night. It was beautiful and completely magical. This no doubt was one of my favorite, if not my absolute favorite nights in Japan, and it was so cool that it was on my birthday as well. I entered into this trip thinking that I really knew what I was in for, and it was the complete opposite of anything I ever expected in the best way possible. It's experiences like these that you look back on and realize how much they expanded your horizons and pushed you outside of your comfort zone, being completely submerged in a different culture. It's amazing. Japan is such an incredible and unique experience. I seriously can't think of another place on this planet that I could even relate to it. It's a totally different world, and I hope that you watching this get the chance to go visit Japan for yourself one day. But until then, I hope that this video made you feel like you were right there with us, walking the streets, trying the food. I'm forever grateful for this experience, and even more grateful that I get to take you along with me. Thank you for joining me on this journey throughout Japan. I hope that this video inspired you to want to get out there and see the world, try something new, push yourself out of your comfort zone, or submerge yourself in a new culture. And before I end this video, I want to ask you this: where is your next adventure going to be? Rate my outfit on a scale of 1 to 10, or 10 to bad. Japan's making me feel inferior. I have no clothes because I'm living out of this. So this is my brother's, and this is my mom's.
So you want two shoes?